I know you see the hat. Some celebratory bling, okay, new Michigan chain. It's so great to be a Michigan Wolverine. It really and truly is from the bottom of my soul. If you're an Ohio State fan and you follow or subscribe, I understand I am not your favorite person right now and you have to keep quiet for another year. No one believed in us. Don't get me wrong, they have stressed me out this entire year, but this team did what it needed to do. There is only one game we need to win every single year, and that is against that school down south. Now, all of the boys were fighting in college football this weekend. I mean, fighting. Like, I get Squabble Up had the video come out, and they all wanted to be extras, I guess, but also don't be so soft that you're upset that a flag was planted, because if you win, we couldn't say anything, we couldn't plant a flag. Also, where was that fight during the actual regulation time of the game? That is the time that you should have fought to get into the end zone, to do anything in the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter stats exposed Ohio State so badly. I don't know how you do that poorly when we could not throw the ball down the field. We could not do many of the things we are used to doing in the past with recent Michigan teams. But nonetheless, I am a happy person. But let's just go ahead real quick, transition to Instagram. So normally this is what happens with my content, okay? If you guys are subscribed here on YouTube, Talks with TJ1, I appreciate you truly. And if you follow me on Instagram at talks.with.tj, the way it works, you guys see everything first. It's always uploaded here in long form, and then I will chop up the longer form videos into shorter clips. You may see them again here on shorts, just to kind of like get that information out or get a clip out to like non-subscribers, and then they can certainly click on the longer form linked video and check out the rest of the content. On Instagram, a long form is just chopped up, and then of course, people will comment. That's what social media is. This is all about us just sharing our own opinions and thoughts on the platforms that we have. That's it. Just because somebody has a bigger following than you may have, that doesn't mean that you can't get on your own platform and share your opinions. Like, that's what it's for. However, how something is received on one platform will hilariously be so different on another platform. Now, we're not even venturing into Twitter. I didn't post this on Twitter. I just didn't want to deal with that cesspool, so this is not even posted on Twitter. I just decided, hey, let me post this clip on Instagram. Do you guys remember this clip? You continuously still say that the Panda Dunk is the worst sneaker ever.
What's up, everybody? It's Matt Welty. We're here at Complex Con, and we're going to find out the worst sneaker of all time. Okay.
Panda Dunks, Panda Dunks.
In the Panda Dunk.
I'm convinced you all share one brain cell, and it is fighting for its life.
The worst.
If not a
Panda Dunks. The black Panda Dunk.
Yeah, the responses. Now, some of the responses were spot on. I'm not just saying that because they align with myself. I'm saying that because they're rooted in logic. And that is where I stand on so many different things. Even if something is opinion-based, I just want to understand the logic behind it. And I need the logic to make sense. I need the math to math for whatever stance you are on, okay? Whatever you want to stand 10 toes down on, can it just make sense? That's it. That's like the bare minimum bar. I just need it to make sense. And there were certainly some comments on Instagram that just didn't make sense. So we'll go over some of those really fast, okay? Again, I am not someone that owns a Panda Dunk. I have often criticized it in terms of its quality. I've called it the plastic panda because Nike just skimped on the quality, and I just thought that was ridiculous and very unnecessary. Like, you had a shoe that so many people loved and they wanted and it was easy to wear. Yes, there's going to be some hype and influence there, but that's for any and everything. That's just where we are in 2024 and previously in these past few years. That's fine. I'm not like saying that doesn't play a factor, but the quality was just so god awful terrible. Like, it just felt like plastic. It was worse to me than so many other basic $100 and $110 dunks that would come out. But again, I fully understood why people wanted a basic black and white sneaker. People wear basic black and white shoes all the time. It is their go-to. It sits by the door. And I know some of you in this space can't fathom that people don't want to own hundreds of pairs of shoes that they barely wear, but that's what it is for a lot of people, okay? A lot of people are not caught up in just owning all this shit that they don't wear. All right, so let's move on. Someone said it's the most saturated shoe ever. This is where I said I need logic, because the Nike Air Force One, all white. The Adidas Samba, classic black and white. Vans, old school. Would all like a word. They would all like a word in terms of it being the most saturated shoe ever. You just started seeing this shoe, so how is it the most saturated ever? Words mean things. They really do mean things. Now, you saying that it's the worst shoe ever, again, my concern with that is how original of a thought is that, because people say it so fast. There's not even thought into the worst. Like, normally if somebody says what's the best, some people will take a little bit of time. Others will know just off the top of their head because a shoe is just so iconic to them that it is the best to them of all time. But when you answer so fast about the worst, like, yes, it does give me pause, and I just want to then follow up and say, why is it the worst? Because once you start posing the question, why, you get to the root of things, and a lot of times it's not anywhere close to what somebody is really trying to make you believe. So it being the most saturated shoe ever, it's not. Like, it's just not. And I love this comment. Someone said, yeah, I think they're missing the question. In their mind, they heard him say, which Matt Welty from Complex, because he was doing the interviews at ComplexCon, they heard, what's a shoe that you're tired of seeing? Now, he said the worst shoe ever made would be the Jordan Spizikes. Again, I've heard that, certainly. But I think this is golden because it does feel like people are interpreting the worst shoe of all time as the sneaker you are just tired and fatigued and you don't want to see it anymore. If that was the question posed to everyone, I would firmly understand and actually just go ahead and support you wanting to say the Panda Dunk. Because it probably is a shoe that a lot of people are fatigued and seeing on foot. Now, I've already said when I've traveled this past summer and gone different places, and certainly more densely populated areas like Chicago or New York, those places you still saw Sambas on everyone's foot. You saw the classic Chuck Taylor. You saw Air Force Ones. You see Panda Dunks. You see basic staples. That is what you see. And so can you become fatigued by seeing a shoe all the time? Yeah, but that's no different than Jordan 1s, let's say, being the hot thing, right? And they certainly have had their moment in the past few years. You may have been fatigued by that because everyone and their mom was wearing a Jordan 1. Do I think that's a bad thing? No. Because you guys know how I feel when people say, I don't want to wear something that everyone else is wearing. You're probably commenting that from an iPhone. So you do you do hold space to have something that like everyone else has. Also, if we want to talk about something that is the most saturated, wouldn't an iPhone be like the most saturated thing? Most people have iPhones. I'm one of those individuals where I have two. I have an Android. I have a few Androids actually, and I have an iPhone. So I know that the iPhone is certainly like the most saturated phone produced, and people have no problem having a phone that everyone around, sitting around them, okay? I don't care where you are. They have that phone, and you don't seem to have a problem with that. But I think this is brilliant. I think the question should maybe better be framed. What's a shoe you're tired of seeing? And if the fatigue is there for that, then fine. But I promise you that fatigue would logically be there for a number of other pairs as well that's seen on everyone's foot. That's all I'm saying. Again, I would just like for things to be rooted in logic. And someone said they aren't the worst by far. I just think they were way overproduced. Again, we don't feel this way about like Air Force Ones. Like, they are produced so much. I worked at Kids Foot Locker, okay? But whether it was our store, walking down a regular Foot Locker, walking over to Champs, that is a shoe that was always in stock. And even when it went out of stock, Nike understood the demand for that shoe to always be a staple for people to just walk in on any given day, a Monday, back to school, Christmas, doesn't matter. They want to be able to get their hands on that shoe. They made sure that shoe was readily available as a staple. So again, not overproduced. Now, you can get on the resellers who chose to try to capitalize on that moment because people lacked all kinds of patience to just wait until a restock happened, and then you could possibly get your hands on a shoe. Now, we know that there are people where if there isn't buzz and hype and everything around it, they no longer want the shoe. That's exactly what we're seeing now. People have certainly turned on the Panda Dunk because it's just not garnering the same attention, right? It's not, you don't get any excitement. There's nothing special about a Gotham screen on a Panda anymore, but it certainly was when they dropped. Because I remember I got exclusive access, I think, and my niece wanted a pair. So yes, I went ahead, picked up her pair. But like no one cares now. So now it's just seen as like, oh, it's way too overproduced. I don't think so at all. There are so many, and as I commented, plenty of entry level price sneakers are produced in mass quantities, and people are silent. So again, and they follow up to say, because I said, hey, they initially just kept fueling the FOMO. And the person said, so you don't have to manufacture FOMO. I don't think that you do, But brands certainly do that. That's just part of their marketing strategy. They absolutely do. Someone says suggesting Panda Dunks when mischief Crocs big boots exist is ridiculous. It's funny because I think J Tips might have said the big boot. I think he might have said the big boot, just like that big boneless boot itself. But that's just where we are. Like, I just want logic to be behind the answers. That's it. I just truly don't feel like there's a lot of logic behind it if you say it's the most overproduced when we have so many sneakers that are produced in mass quantities and people don't hold this same energy. People don't call any other just dark colored hue, same color block Nike Dunk Low. You don't call it the worst. I brought this up in previous videos. You don't call the women's navy pair the worst. You don't call that dark green pair the worst. You've never called any of like the dark maroon pairs the worst. Same color blocking. Just a little bit less black added into the actual color itself, and it's not the worst. It's not. I'm just saying, let's just challenge ourselves to think a little bit more. Okay, let's not let that one single brain cell continue to fight for its life. Okay, let's just help it out. let's just help it out a little bit. All right, but listen, I appreciate you guys tuning into this video. Certainly stay tuned. I will have my comparison video up within due time soon of the Stray, the SB Dunk Low, and then the Vans New School, because it's certainly interesting to see them all side by side together. And I really hope you enjoyed your holiday. Now we are on to Christmas, and certainly that'll be an interesting season because I just want people to spend money responsibly, but we don't know if they'll do that. We can only hope. As always, act your age, not your shoe size. Go blue. Peace.